آم، حصة أخرى من المراجعة باللغة الإنجليزية لتلاميذ البكالوريا. شكرا مدام رجاء، شكرا مسيو كريم. نبداو بكري إن شاء الله باش نكملوا الحصة بكري باش نخلوا مجال المراجعة لتلاميذنا، إن شاء الله بالتوفيق. لكم الكلمة.
يعيشك مدام هيام، يعطيكم انتم الصحة في المبادرة. جزيل الشكر لك انت والمدام سارة بالنيابة على المجهود الجبار في الانرجسترومون، في اعداد معناتها الفيديوهات. والشكر زاد يتوجه الى مدام سيدة الجندوبي المتفقدة اللي هي مرافقتنا في لي سيونس هذوما الكل. والتلاميذات ان شاء الله يكونوا استفادوا في كل حصة يا ربي، وان شاء الله اليوم على الاقل تكون معناتها المردوديه غدوه ان شاء الله في دفوار الانجليزيه، يحسوا القواعد وكل الحاجات اللي شافوها الكل سي لو مومون باش يطبقوها. Okay, donc on commence. So hi everyone, good evening. So tonight will be the last session together for the unit 4. Okay, today basically we will focus on how to if you want focus tomorrow inshallah on your exams, what are the techniques, strategies. We will have two parts. One theoretical part will be with me. I will give you tips in general, okay? It will be short. And the second part with Mr. Karim, inshallah, it will be practice. You will do many activities in the language tasks, okay? So that you get familiar, okay, with the challenges that you could encounter in your exams. Right, so first I would like for my part, since it's theoretical, I will not use real text or comprehension text, but I will talk about the questions that usually follow the text, right? So I will talk about reading tips. Usually in your exam you should read carefully, so I will try to give you some clues. So usually reading passages, I talk about the English exams, the comprehension part, which is scored 15 points, Usually it tends to be long. Sometimes pupils are scared. You have 3-4 paragraphs. Usually it is 350 words for the arts, So it's also formal, very polite, very formal, since it is quoted from newspapers. It is newspaper articles, And sometimes you find intricate styles. We talked about that, if you remember, in the first and second session. I mean, of course, the use of idioms, phrasal verbs, and collocation. So the more you read and immerse in the text, the more understanding you get for sure. Don't panic. Don't be afraid, You are not losing time. At least read the text 3 or 4 times, at least, And personally, I usually advise my pupils to read the questions before the text, Ask me why. Because if you read the questions, you can collect some pieces of information. For example, who are the characters in the text? What was the accident? What type of health issues the text is talking about? So it will be like a warm-up. If you read basically the questions, you will be guided somehow. I know that my text will be talking about online learning. Unit 2. I know that my text will be talking about smoking, someone who is suffering from lung disease and wherever. So it is unit 4. So it's somehow psychological effects. You feel comfortable, You get to know what will the topic of your text, So usually try, please, to read your questions before moving to the text. And it will save you time, of course. So first you should give enough time for scanning. Scanning, it means to read in details. Who are the characters, the time, the place, the event, the consequences, what happens in detail, Second, beware of new lexis. Usually in any exam of English, especially that you are sitting for a national baccalaureate exam, of course it will be a little bit challenging, So maybe you can come across a new vocab. You are not familiar with that. It's difficult in pronunciation, difficult in spelling. Don't be afraid, You can figure out the meaning from the context. What does it mean? It means the sentence before, and the sentence after. Try to understand the paragraph globally. Try not to put it, if you want to divide it into words. No, try to understand the whole meaning, okay? So don't be afraid if you find new vocab. It is something normal, okay? So try to infer the meaning from context. Besides, you ought to write shorter sentences. Here I am talking about question number 3 or 4, it depends on your exam. Usually we ask pupils to correct false statements from the text, okay? And we give you one space, just one sentence. So try to shorten the sentence that you will, the reference if you want, you will be taken from the text, okay? Don't write too long. You have one space, just write one sentence. You have 2 spaces, write 2 sentences, and so on, okay? And of course, mind your spelling. Sometimes you are speeding, okay? So you are copying from your text wrongly. Be careful from that, okay? Try to pay attention to give enough time to each question so that you don't make spelling mistakes. Okay. Part 2, okay, let's move to some examples. Let's put our hands in the dough, okay? So, usually, any exam has typical questions. For example, you have to choose the title, who are the characters, etc. So let's figure out, if you want, let's take a look, okay, at the different types of questions that you can have. I tried to collect, if you want, the most used one in the baccalaureate exam, okay? So usually you have the first question like this. You are asked to tick the most appropriate title. So, usually if you have a title, be careful. Sometimes the title, the 3 titles are correct, okay? But each title applies to a paragraph, is correct for one paragraph, okay? But you have one title which is correct for the whole text. You see what I mean? So try to be careful. Sometimes they are very confusing, very similar, but there is something peculiar, okay? You have just one correct answer. I've chosen here, for example, these are 3 options, okay, of the baccalaureate of 2019, the arts session, okay? So A, for example, who needs traveling when you have the net to surf? B, who needs help when you have friends to rely on? C, who needs a classroom when you have the word to explore? So you see, they are very confusing. Of course, when I read the text, I will pick up the clues to answer. I will have a whole idea, okay? A very detailed information about the content of my text. Is it clear? Okay. Sometimes instead of asking you to choose a title, okay, you are asked to choose a sentence, for example, which summarizes the text or which gives you the topic of the text, okay? For instance, here, the question is, tick the most appropriate option. The text is mainly about a man who, and you have 3 possibilities. As I said before, the more you read the text, the more understanding you will have. Don't be afraid. Of course, you should manage your time. You still have writing activities, language activities, but globally, reading comprehension should be given the appropriate time, okay? So A, he struggled to provide the homeless with shelter. B, dedicated, yes?
معناتها when we choose the title, should we write sentence or just one detail, just
No,
one word?
yeah, for the title you will have the 3 options. You will just tick. You will not give anything from yourself, okay? It is already from the text. They will give you 3 sentences. You just tick. There is no need to write. You just tick. You put a tick. Is it clear?
Okay, understand. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So I move to the B. Dedicated all his time to cutting the homeless people's hair. And C, volunteered to help the homeless regain their dignity. So you see, it is very confusing if I don't read my text carefully, because unfortunately a lot of pupils focus on the writing, okay, activities. They think it's a source of scoring and having a good mark, and they forget about the reading comprehension. No, the reading comprehension should be respected, should be given enough time. 15 marks is not something really easy, okay? And of course, as you are reading the questions before reading the text, here, for example, I get an idea. Okay, homeless, volunteered, it is unit 4. Okay, life issues, volunteerism, social issues. So you get, if you want to warm it up, you already knew what the text will be about. You are reading and you have already some schemata, some prior knowledge, right? Okay. Sometimes you are asked another type of question. Usually these questions are scored for 1 mark, okay? Un point. Here, the assignment is to tick the right option. Usually pupils are confused here between the expository and the argumentative. The narrative is very simple, very easy. How do you pinpoint a narrative text? Of course, first of all, you should have the time and the place. We call this the setting. I repeat, the time and the place, the setting. Second, you have the characters, who are the people interacting in the text. And basically, you have events. Someone talking about his childhood, a woman talking about her son's graduation, a horrible marriage that happened in the Caribbean, wherever, okay? So you have a story. You are following the plot, the order of events. You are having characters in the text. You are having a place and a time, okay? Right, I move to the second type, which is expository. An expository text is a text which is, if you want, presenting, okay, a phenomenon, a problem, an issue, but the writer is neutral. He's not giving his own opinion. Till the end, we don't know if he is for or against. For example, he's talking about global warming. Till the end, you can't really judge if he is accusing, for example, America, blaming America, since it retreated from the Kyoto Protocol signed in 2005 to reduce the CO2 emission, for example. Okay, you can't really have the opinion or the attitude of the writer. Okay. And the last type, of course, which is very, I think, obvious, argumentative, in which the narrator, the writer, is giving his point of view. You can already tell he is chanting, okay, or he is praising, okay. يمدح وإلا ينقد. Donc, it is already clear. You have a lot of arguments for, arguments against, a lot of positive adjectives, okay, beneficial, fruitful, adventurous, for example, talking about, let's say, I don't know, space tourism. And at the same time, if you are having a lot of negative adjective, exorbitant, risky, you already knew, okay, you already know, sorry, that he is, if you want, criticizing, okay? He is showing already his point of view. Is it clear for the first type of question? So I wrap up. Either you have to choose a title, okay, or a sentence which summarizes the story or the text, or the type of the text, okay? Sometimes you are not asked all of that. You are asked with another category of questions in which you have a table. Here I've just chosen one table for the sake of time so that the presentation will not be long, but I will talk orally about the other types. For example, here, the text talks about an accident, okay? You are asked to sort out the causes of the accident. It is already precised one cause. However, the decision of the court, it is here, you have two spaces. So you are asked to provide from the text two decisions. I remember this text, it is the baccalaureate, I think, of 2020 or 19, I'm not sure, for the arts also. It talks about the dangers of cell phones. The accident happened in the street. An elderly person, pensioner, was hit by a teenager who was talking on the phone while driving, and you have he was fined by the judge, etc. Okay, so here you read carefully your text. You will sort the cause of the accident. As I said in this story, for example, it was talking on the phone, the reckless behavior of the teenager, and what was the decision of the court. Right. Sometimes, no, you are provided with another type of table, of box, okay, in which you should sort out, for example, the main character, okay, in the text, الشخصية الرئيسية, ou bien the characters, okay. If you are asked the main, it means the principal, the most important one in the text. If you are asked to sort out characters, you write all the names you have, right? Okay. Also, you could be asked about the age. Next, about the occupation, the job. What does he do or does she do in her life, okay? So this is a second example, okay, about possible tables that you can find in your exams. I hope I was clear, okay? So, well, I move now to the most famous question, which is which are the false statements to be corrected. Usually we assign this question for pupils in the back exam, okay? You can find them easily. So usually you are asked to correct, okay, to provide some references, of course, from the text. Sometimes pupils are penalized because they don't copy-paste. Unfortunately, no, beware of that, okay? Don't try to paraphrase. Don't try to give your own words. Try to stick to the original text you have beforehand. For example, here, nobody helped the victim after the accident. So, let me give you some tips. How can you, if you want, correct or sort out the reference? Of course, I should look for a sentence in which there is an indication about an accident, about a victim. Are there really victims in this accident? Okay, so you should know which paragraph you should look, okay, for the information in it. Okay, I move to the B. Ruth and Lois had a safe journey. For example, which is obvious here, it's not a safe journey since it's false. I should sort out a reference to that. Maybe I will find the adjective risky. Maybe I will find the adjective dangerous. Maybe I will have someone who is kidnapped, someone who was injured. You see, try to brainstorm your ideas like that when you are searching for the references from the text. Okay, because sometimes it's not really word by word. You will not actually find a dangerous journey. But what means that? Okay, like, I don't know, an accident, a fire, and so on, okay? I move to the C. Jason, yes, please.
Sometimes I can't understand the whole text.
You can't understand the whole text, yeah.
That means new adjective. I came to write them in this answer.
Okay, listen to me. First of all, of course, even if the text is very long, is very difficult, try to figure out how to understand. As I said, read the questions twice and thrice to get an idea. Second, try to read the paragraphs, okay, without concentrating on the difficult words, okay? The third technique, okay, when you are looking for information, try to, as if it's a story, ask yourself many WH questions. Okay, the text is about Ruth. Okay, let me check the text. Where did she live? Let me check. Okay, try to ask yourself. Try to spend some time if you want, if it is a little hard for you. Try to ask many WH questions. Maybe this could help you. And one last remark, please, everyone. When you are writing for the false statement, sometimes you are given just a space of one sentence, but the justification, let's say it's 3 sentences. Try to shorten your sentence. How do you do that? Just try to take the verb, object, subject, sorry, verb, object. It means a grammatical sentence which has a meaning. مش نجيه الجمله في الاخر ولا نهز له كان الادجكتيف نطيشه وبيان نعمل كان فيرب نو باش يحاسبني هو على جمله كامله فيها لو سوجي وانسي دو سويت. دونك نقصر يعطيني اسباس معناتها مثلا جمله واحده مش جملتين وانا في التكست نتاعي فما 3 جمل. كيفاش باش نعمل؟ بيان سور نحاول انك الجمله نقصها ونحافظ على المعنى داكورد ونقص الكلمات المحسنات اللغويه معناته ما هو ما نعرفش انا مفعول به ما هو معناتها الادفيرب الادجكتيف تقصر جملتك دون فاسون تعطيك المعنى. اذا ما تعطيكش المعنى فما كلمه ناقصه معناتها راهي غلطه الاجابه. Is it clear? Could you repeat? There is a problem in the sound. Yes. Yes, even in Arabic.
And then
مشكلة في الصوت متقطع. كان تحب تكتب لنا ميساج في الشات بوكس. There is a problem in the sound. Sorry, I didn't hear a word. I'm really sorry. If you could answer again, or if you have a problem with your network flow, you can write in the chat box and we will answer you, okay? If you have a problem with the network, it's slow or something like that, be my guest, try to write in the chat box. Or if you want to repeat your question, go on, because I couldn't hear anything. The voice is really interrupted, sorry. So waiting for you, gentlemen. If you want to write the question, please. Okay, we will answer in few seconds. So as I said here, try to correct, okay, from the text. Stick to your text, okay? Don't try to paraphrase. Okay, the third type of questions, sometimes you are asked other WH questions. Where, how long, etc. Here I just chose this example. For example, here he said focus. Of course, they gave you the paragraph from which you should take your answer, okay? Focus on paragraph 3 and pick out 3 details describing the victim's bad state at present. Here I was talking already about this exam in which this teenager hit the elderly, the old man, okay? And you have a lot of description of his mental health, okay, psychological health and physical. What happened to him after the accident? So I should sort out, okay, these adjectives or sentences from the text. Sometimes you are asked other types of WH. As I said, how long did, I don't know, Susie stay in, I don't know, urban care, etc. So try to figure out from the text. All of these questions, WH of course, you have the answers in your text. So don't be afraid. I think it is the easiest part in your exam, okay? Also, this question is very common, very familiar in our exams. What do the words underlined in the text refer to? Let me, if you want, highlight something very important here. Usually, when I say usually, it means in the majority of cases, but not in all cases. So usually, we ask pupils, okay, we underline the pronouns. You come across that, they, okay, but in some other cases you can find, for example, a relative pronoun who, which. For example, which refers to an organization. He said in the text, the UNICEF, which helped orphan children, did a great job. So which here refers to the UNICEF. Be careful of that. So I repeat, basically we ask you about pronouns. So usually the pronoun refers to a noun which precedes it, which you have it before. It means in the previous sentence. Be careful, you should look for a full stop, okay? And in some other cases, you can find relative pronouns. Sometimes you can find, I don't know, the person, not the proper noun, but what is his function. For example, the policeman, already you have the name, the doctor, the judge, okay? So this is also, I think it's easy, it's accessible. Try just to be careful, okay? Right, so another type of questions which will be about the synonyms. Here you have two possibilities. Either we give the pupils words, okay, and they look for synonyms from the text, such as here, okay, special and exciting. Of course, we mentioned the paragraph for you so that you don't get lost. So here you should answer, okay, or look for the information from paragraph 3. Severe, also here from paragraph 3. So this is the first possibility. We give you words, okay, and you look for synonyms from the text. Pay attention here. Usually for me personally, I advise my pupils to choose the words which are somehow difficult, new, I don't know, tricky in pronunciation. So it's not always all the time, it's true, but the majority of cases, the new words in your exam will be the synonyms that you are asked to look for, okay? Is it clear for this question? So I repeat, you are asked to find, okay, words which means the same as the words you have in the question. It means synonyms. Sometimes we don't. Yes?
Generally, they are so difficult. They are so difficult, the words. Yes.
Yeah. So bear in mind, when you enter in the classroom, when you read your text, bear in mind 90%, okay, of the cases, the new vocab you have that you have never encountered, met before, will be the synonyms, okay? But it's not always the case. Sometimes you can find familiar words, like exorbitant. We came across that with the lesson of space tourism. It means very expensive. But what I've noticed in the back exam each year, we should give new lexis, new vocabulary, which are a little bit difficult. So try to look for that. Okay, the word that you feel it is somehow difficult, long, and new, try to check these two options. Okay?
Okay.
So, there is another possibility. We don't give you synonyms, but instead we give you a sentence, okay, in which we have, for example, 3 options. I forgot to write it down here. For example, I remember I came across the back of 2011 or 12, I remember. He said some parents may raise an eyebrow. They may raise an eyebrow. يرفعوا حاجبا. احنا بالعربي نفهموها معناتها يستغرب. اي انت عمرك ما ريتها في لونجلي. دونك هنا تكون العمليه صعيبه شويه. نحاول نفهم من شنو من السياق. انا نقرا في تكست على حاجه جديده online learning. Okay, it's somehow new. Not everyone accepts that. Blah blah blah. So what will be the reaction of some parents? They will disapprove. They won't agree. They won't accept. اوكي هو ديجا باش يعطيك 3 اوبشنز واحده فيهم مثلا يعمل لك parents agree الثانيه parents are happy والثالثه parents disapprove. انا فهمتها ديجا اونلاين ليرنينغ والتكست تحكي على الشخص هذاك وكيف عنده صعوبه وبوه ما حبش وحبوا يمشي للتراديشنال سكول بلا بلا بلا. دونك اوريدي انا خذيت فكره فهمت ولا كي حللت علاش جانسيست بيان على انك تحلل النص في مخك تفهموا على شنو يحكي تربطوا بالمحاور اللي قريتها تربط انت بالافكار اللي عطاها لك البروف علاش لا. هي احنا شفنا الاونلاين شنو هي الادفانتجز ديسادفانتجز فما شويه عمليه تفكيك راهو مش نص مسقط هكاك وصاي نو مربوط بموديول كامل معناتها عمليه بيداغوجيه نحاولوا نحط رواحنا في الاطار باش تسهل حتى امور نفسيه. اوكي دونك I repeat ou bien either you are given the words, you provide synonyms from the text. Sometimes they are difficult, new lexis, okay? And in some other cases, you are just given if you want 3 sentences or idiomatic expressions, okay, and you are asked to choose to tick the possible one or the most appropriate one. Is it clear? Okay. I move to the 6th type of question that you can have, okay. Usually, this is what we call critical thinking. التقييم النقدي. دونك راهي ماهيش من التكست. مش كل التلميذ يرجع يكتب لك آخر جملة أول جملة يرجع للفقرات. No. Usually this question is outside of the text. We are asking you, we are checking your opinion, your ability to express yourself, your ability to write correctly in English. Okay? So, usually you have imaginary situations. It means hypothesis. When I talk about the hypothesis, of course, I talk about the conditional. Okay? For example, he said in this question, if you were Gemma, would you donate marrowbone to Amy? Why and why not? Okay. Pay attention, please. When you answer, you don't say I was. Okay? I were. Because it's conditional. You are not a Gemma. You are Muhammad or Ali. You will never be Gemma. It's impossible, irreal, okay? It's conditional, hypothesis. So please try to stick to the second type of conditional. If plus simple past, okay, gives you would plus verb. But here, of course, where. We don't use was, okay? So this is how you should answer this question. Or sometimes you are asked, if you were in the shoes of Peter, would you do the same? So here you are free, as long as you provide a complete, grammatically correct sentence. Okay? So, is it clear for the reading comprehension? If you have any questions, please, you write in the chat box and Mrs. Huyam or Mrs. Sarah will notify me, okay? So, if no, I would like to move quickly to the language. So, similarly, I would provide some tips, okay, of clues to help you in your exam. So, usually, the most, if you want, familiar type of questions lie in these 3 models in your exams. The first one, usually, to fill, okay, in the blanks with words. Sometimes you have 6, sometimes you have 8. Be careful, please, okay? Usually, we give 1 or 2 extra. So try to read carefully, because sometimes pupils take this question for granted. No, you read. Is it 1 extra or 2? It depends on the exam, okay? The second type, you are asked to put the bracketed words in the correct tense or form. I will focus on this one because I feel it's the most difficult for pupils. Yeah. And the third one, of course, to circle the right option. So we have fill in, okay, spaces, okay, you have the grammar and form, and you have to choose, okay, between multiple answers. Right, so as I said, I think personally from my experience with my pupils that the second one is the most difficult type. So today I'm trying to make it easier, simplify as much as I can. So in this question you have 2 parts. Put in the right form. What is form? When I talk about form, I talk about affixation. معناتها التيب متاع التمارين هذا فيه double difficulty. الأولى right form باش نشتق نخدم على الاشتقاق. مش معناتها الاشتقاق الكلمة أي كلمة في أي لغة فيها الأصل الأوريجين وكل الحاجات اللي نزيدوها. داكوردو هذيك هي خدمتنا. Donc today I will talk about the process of affixation. I know maybe this is grammar a little bit difficult. It's not for secondary education, but unfortunately you should have at least little knowledge, okay, to acquire a little knowledge so that you will be familiar, and even the reflex, you will be faster in your exam when you provide the answer, okay? So take a look here. For example, I take the word on the right, if you see, except. So here it is composed, it is made up of 2 parts. I can add a part at the beginning, before the word. What we add before the word in English, we call this a prefix. We already came across a list of prefixes in Unit 2 Education, if you remember, like the IL, legal, illegal, like the IM, possible, impossible, like non-smoker, non-smoker, okay, like the UN, friendly, unfriendly, like the IN, appropriate, inappropriate, like the MIS, understand, misunderstand. What is the function of prefixes in English? Very simple, to give antonyms, opposite words, nothing more, nothing less. However, what I will add at the end, okay, like here, acceptable, the ABLE, is called a suffix. A suffix, however, changes the nature of the word. For example, accept is a verb, acceptable, it becomes an adjective. I repeat, prefixes are used to provide the antonyms. And how do you know? You could ask me, Miss, how can I know in the exam I am using a prefix or suffix? It's very simple. You have in the parentheses, for example, put in the right answer form. And in the parentheses, you have, for example, the not, slash, and another word. Okay? So not, for example, possible. You will choose impossible. Not, slash, certain. You will write uncertain. Is it clear? Okay. So, and as I said earlier, suffixes are very, very, very important, since the whole work in this task is based on suffixes. The more suffixes you learn, the more correct your work will be. Okay. So the suffixes help you, okay, change the nature, the class grammatical. Okay, from the noun you provide an adjective, from the adjective you provide an adverb, and so on. We will see later, okay, some examples. Okay, so if you want, let's start with sorting out different suffixes in English. I categorized them, try to collect as much as I remember. Hopefully I don't forget anything. So suffixes of the noun, I will start on the right, at the top on the right. The most famous one is the ER. Like I say, the verb is to write, the noun of the person, writer, okay? The verb sing, the noun of the person, singer, and so on. Okay, usually ER is used for a person. Bear in mind, it is used for a person, right? Next, you can have the MENT. Like here, for example, I say environment, okay? Develop is the verb, development is the noun. To measure is the verb, measurement is the noun. So usually, if you have the MENT, I am talking about an action or state. You see, development, measurement, it's an action. So I add the MENT if I am talking about an action. Next, I have the ERA. Why, sorry. For example, let's say the bakery. The bakery is the place in which we bake, okay, the bread. So, usually if you have the ERY, I talk about the type of place, okay? Next, you can find the ING, like I say, reading, swimming. So usually if I talk about activity, okay, I use the ING form. Be careful, the ING form could be used also for the adjective. Interesting, you see? The film was exciting. Next, I have the hood, H-O-O-D. Like I say, neighborhood, motherhood, parenthood. Usually, if I have the hood added to a noun, okay, or to a part of word, okay, I am talking about the age or the period, okay, the period of, for example, being a mother, the period of being a father, and so on, right? Okay. Next, I can have the ESS, like I say, actress. Angelina Jolie is an actress. So usually the ESS is used for the feminine, the female, okay? Like I say, actor, actress, the animal, lion, lioness, right? So it is usually used only for the feminine. Okay, you can find also the IST, Like I say, the scientist, Einstein was a scientist, Ahmed Ziwail was a scientist. So if you have Ahmed Ziwail is, and you have between parentheses the word science, I already know that I need a noun of a person. So I will add the suffix ist. He is a scientist. Okay, you can have a pianist. So usually the est is also used, okay, for a person, right? You can have also the double E, like I say, the employer and the employee. The employer is your boss, the employee is the person who is hired by someone else. You can have also the ENCE, like I say, independence. Independent is the adjective. Independence is the noun. So it is also used here for a process, for an action, for a state. Ship, you can have the SHIP, relationship, friendship, you see. You can have also the ISM, like I say, racism, Judaism, Buddhism. So usually we use the ISM to talk about a condition or a belief. When I'm talking about something religious, I talk about a belief. People who believe, for example, in Buddha and so on, they are Buddhists. Okay, donc the Buddhism is the religion. Okay, full. Be careful. This full is not the full that you use for the adjective, like beautiful, helpful. No, this is used, okay, to make a noun. Let's say, for example, spoonful, حفنة من. Donc, full, it means here as much as you will fill, like a quantity or a number. Is it clear? Okay. You have also the AGE, okay, like I say, breakage, wreckage. Usually it is, used to provide the meaning, okay, to talk about a result, an effect, okay, a result. Is it clear? And I finish, I think we still have the ness. Yes, I forgot about the ness. So it's very common, like I say, happiness, sadness, also to talk about an action, a process, a state of mind, okay? And you have the TY, like I say, felicity. Also, we talk about an action. I hope they were clear enough. So this list provides the suffixes used, okay, to be added to words to provide nouns, okay? And another remark, of course, usually, how do you know that you need a noun in your space? Usually before the noun, you can find an adjective, or you can find a determiner, the, an, right? Well, so let's move now to the suffixes of adjectives. Similarly, I've sorted out a list as much as I remember them, okay? So, I will start with on the right as usual, okay? So you have ABLE, the most common one, like I say, comfortable, okay, affordable, okay? It means something that you can do, that you can pay for, concerning affordable. Space tourism is affordable for many people today, right? So if you have the able, it means an action or a result, action of something, okay? We can have the ed, we use a lot in English, excited, bored, tired, okay? It gives also a state, a description. You can have the IC, like scientific, economic. You can have the IAN, especially for the nationality. He is Italian, okay? He is Romanian. Even though you can have the ISH for the nationality, Spanish, Turkish, or you can have the ESE, like Japanese, Chinese. Be careful, huh? Okay. At the bottom, you can have AL, economical, okay. You can have also the IBLE, okay, like edible. You can have the EN. You can have the IVE, like descriptive, narrative. You can have like, okay, which will be added to another word. Like I say, life, like, it's like life, okay? You have less. Be careful here. All of these, they have a positive meaning in general. However, less, it means without. Like I say, homeless, children without home, jobless, people without job, okay, parentless, etc. Okay, ISH, I talked about that, the nationality, like Spanish, Turkish, okay. The ING. Okay, sometimes pupils get confused in which case you should use the ed and in which case you should use the ing. It's very simple. Usually you use ed to describe a person. I am tired by the job. I am excited by the movie. I am interested in the film. You see? However, the ing is used to describe the object. The film was exciting. The holiday was boring. The job was tiring. You see? You can have the Y, for example, in the description of the weather, snowy, windy, okay? The FUL, like helpful, beautiful. The OUS, like courageous, contagious, okay? And the last one is some, like I say, tiresome, awesome. Awesome is something very beautiful. The antonym is awful. Beware of that. Huh? Okay, so this is the list, as I said, of the suffixes used to provide, to make adjectives. Well, similarly, like we use suffixes to make up, okay, the adjectives, we can have the most common one, of course, suffixes that we use for the adverb is the ly, like quickly, barely, etc. So usually you add the ly to the adjective. Be careful, to the adjective to provide an adverb. But it doesn't mean in English that an adverb usually finishes with ly. Be careful. You can have a lot of other words here, okay? Like rather, always, to, sometimes, almost, often, okay? And I will give you new other words, okay, other suffixes that you can use. I will start with the first one on the right, okay, at the top, which is wise. Like I say, otherwise, likewise, usually we use that in our exams, in the writing task, okay? Usually the word wise means in relation to, okay? So wise, it means in relation to something. So otherwise, people prefer to move to the countryside. Likewise, she was fond of music, okay? Next, let me guess, it is on the left, I guess. Yes, you have ways. Ways, like I say, sideways, inways. So here it is used to show the direction, okay? To show, sorry, direction. Okay, you can have also ward, W-A-R-D, okay, like afterward, inward. Also, it means in a certain direction. So this is the list of the suffixes. I repeat, you have wise, maybe these are new for you. You have word, okay, and you have ways, in addition to the famous, the common ly that we use all the time in our exams, okay? So let me talk about something in general now, since a lot of pupils can't really figure out, okay, the different types of nouns. So all of these, of course, they will help you later in your language tasks. You will be able to identify what is the subject in your sentence, because the subject is usually a noun, okay? It helps you to identify the verb. I know that after the noun, the second position is a verb, the third position is an adverb, and so on and so forth. So this could be very helpful, very useful, if you get an insight of some grammar rules in general, okay? So I will start with things in general, okay? So we have two types, basically. What we call concrete, okay? And what we call abstract. Concrete, it means something that you can touch, okay? If I say a dog, a cat, a person, I can touch him. Abstract, it means principles, concepts, you can't really touch them. When I say democracy, do you touch democracy? When I say friendship, do you take it home or to a coffee? No, so they are abstract, okay? So I repeat again, you have two basic types, okay? What we call concrete, you can touch them, and abstract, right? I come back to the concrete. I can here divide them into two groups. The common nouns, okay, and the proper nouns. Proper nouns, of course, every noun which begins with a capital, which is a noun of a person, a notion, so usually it is in capital. Richard, the Niagara Fall, okay, Mount Etna, famous mountain, okay, so usually the Big Ben, Trafalgar Square, okay, Japan. Usually it is for something unique and it starts with a capital letter. The common noun, all the rest. You talk about a car. The proper noun of the car is the Ferrari. You talk about a dog. The proper noun of the dog is Alex. You talk about a boy. The proper noun of the boy is Richard, and so on. You talk about a country, a town. The proper noun is London or Litchfield. Okay? The second part, here you have the abstract nouns like drawback, fraction, I will give you a simpler one, democracy, okay, friendship, pollution, smoking, all of these, they are abstract. We can also categorize it into countable and uncountable. What's the difference? Countable is something that you can count. Usually in the plural, they take an S. 1 pen, 3 pens, book, 5 books, 1 girl, many girls, 1 chair, 10 chairs, okay? However, there are nouns that can't take the S. They are quantity, actually. Like I say, water, money, time, rice, okay? So if I ask about the money, I can't really have an S at the end. So I ask how much. I can't say how many, okay? How much money do you need? I need either little or much, okay? Well, next, I move to the collective noun. Be careful, collective noun, they are used for, if you want, group of things which are used as singular. Like I say, the school. The school is not one person, it's a whole establishment. You have a lot of pupils in the school, maybe 100, maybe 200, but the subject, okay, takes here the verb in the third singular. The school is. You see, we never say the school are, even though there are many people at school, okay? Colony, similarly, class, okay? Bunch, bunch here, it means group of. A bunch of flowers, it means a bouquet. A bunch of keys, you see? Also, we can find the compound nouns. Compound nouns, it means nouns composed, made up of two parts. Like I say, myself, cowboy, boyfriend, classmate, output, etc. I move also to the sixth type. You can have the possessive nouns. Possessive nouns, of course, usually you have the S of the genitive, okay? Like the boy's ball. The origin of the sentence is the ball of the boy, okay? The girl's doll, okay? My friend's house. Teacher's books. It means the books of teachers, right? Okay. Also, we can talk about the regular plural nouns. What does it mean? It means a noun in the plural that normally takes an S, like cars, bags, pens, books, girls. And in contrast to that, we have another list of nouns in English which change completely, like the irregular verbs, you see? For example, men with A in the plural becomes men with E. Woman becomes women. One person becomes people. Foot becomes feet. Tooth becomes teeth. One child becomes children, and so on. And of course, you have this list which doesn't change at all, like sheep, sheep, fish, fish. It never takes an S. One fish, many fish. It doesn't change. Be aware of that also. Okay. Right. I would like also to talk about something very important, especially in the language tasks, what we call relative pronouns, especially in the multiple choice. They give you a list of words in this small box, and they say put the words in the right space, for example, the filling in, okay? So, what is a relative pronoun? The relative pronoun is a word, okay, which relates to sentences. For example, take a look at the first sentence. The musician wrote this song. This is a sentence. The musician is French. There is a better, if you want, way to express this sentence, which is to use the relative pronoun to join both sentences. Okay, so the sentence will become as here as such. The musician who wrote this song is French. Of course, there are rules for the relative pronouns. Who, for example, is usually used for people. The man who speaks is Mr. John. The president who refused to sign the Kyoto Protocol was Bill Clinton. Okay? Whom here usually refers to the object. Take a look at this sentence. I know the boy whom sits next to you. Okay, it is a boy, it is a person, but he is not a subject in the sentence. You see, he is an object. The origin of the sentence, okay, I sit next to the boy. I is the subject, the boy is the object. Be careful. Huh? Right. I move to which, usually which, or also that. You can interchange between them, okay. It's used for animals, objects, inanimate things, things that don't have a brain, okay. So like I say, this is the cake which Mary made. Okay, so which here refers to the cake. faites attention بربي تعقيبا على هذه نجموا معناتها تكون موجودة فك what to do the underlined words refer to يجي هنا ويعطيني relative pronoun ويسطر لي عليها لازمني انا نرجع للتكست ونشوف على شنو ترجع بيان سور لازمني نحفظ هذوما الكل اذا هو نعرفها person نمشي نلوج على person اذا هم نعرفوا person وظيفته مفعول به نمشي نلوج عليه اذا which نعرفها ترجع على جماد ainsi de suite معناتها اخزر اذا ما نجمش نحفظ هذوما ونفهمهم على شنو ترجع كل كلمه راهو سي امبوسيبل باش التمرين هذاك اللي هو على 1 بوين او بيان 2 بوين باش نجاوبوا صحيح معناتها فيت اتونسيون ديما نربط كل شيء مع بعضه القواعد اوكي right I move to why usually like the WH word why it refers to the reason like I say do you know the reason why the market is closed today so why refers to the reason here okay when refers to time like I say the day when the concert takes place is Saturday. The holiday, when you get sick, we worried about you. You see, so when refers to the day, the holiday, so it is a time. Where, of course, refers to the place. Like I say, this is the house where my son was born. Okay, this is the stage where the festival took place. Okay, whose, of course, it refers to possession. Like I say, the boy whose phone just rang should stand up. The man whose car is a Ferrari is Cristiano Ronaldo. You see, so whose refers to the phone of the boy, to the car of the player, the football player. Okay? And I move to the last one, that, as I said, like which, it could be used to refer to people, animals, and things. Like I say, 12th of September is the date that I was born. So that here it refers, okay, to the date. You see? Okay. Let's move now to talk about the adjectives. Let me first explain what is an adjective. An adjective is a word, okay, or a group of words sometimes used before a noun. Why? To qualify a noun. Okay. Yes, any questions, please? I thought someone was talking. Yes? So if you have any questions, please, you could raise your hands, okay? Ça va? Okay. So mute your mics, please, so that we could listen to each other. And if you have any questions, the floor is yours. Thank you. So I repeat what I was talking about. The adjective is a word, okay, used to qualify, to describe a noun. احنا ديما الادجكتيف باش يعطيني صفة للناون والادفيرب باش يعطيني صفة للفيرب. فيش حاجة كبيرة. دونك الادجكتيف باش يكون موجود قبل الناون والادفيرب 90% بعد الفيرب و10% باش يكون قبل الفيرب. فما دي فيرب معناتها يحتاجوا انه يكون قبلهم، لكن 90% من الحالات باش يكون بعد الفيرب. اوكي باهي. Let's come back to the adjective. Take a look at these sentences. I said he is a fast driver. Okay. I met a homeless person in New York. Officials shared some important news. شفتوا هنا الادجكتيف important وعندي قبله سكون ابيل quantifier يعطونا الكونتيتي. عندي some، عندي a lot، عندي a little، عندي a few. هذيك الكل تعطيني quantity or okay. So donc it is used before the adjective. Look, that phone is mine. You can't look without permission. That, you see here, it is a demonstrative. اسم الإشارة هذاك للقريب this واسم الإشارة للبعيد that. Okay. Ancient precious coins are exhibited in this museum. Precious, it means, if you want, very valuable, very expensive, very important. Okay. What a delicious taste of this apple. Delicious, it's an adjective. Okay. I have got a little money. عاويني quantifier زادة تبدأ موجودة قبل النون. It's enough to buy this book. My dog has blue eyes and fluffy skin. Blue also is an adjective. This night we have an appointment at a big restaurant for a corporate meeting. A large car cannot pass through a narrow road. Another remark concerning the adjective, please, because a lot of pupils think that adjectives are just to describe something precise. No, they could be used to describe the shape, square, triangular. باش تعطينا الشكل. Okay. It could be used to describe the opinion. He is intelligent. He is stupid. حسب رأيي أنا. نجم أنا شوفه stupid أنت تشوفه intelligent. donc يعطيني الopinion. Okay. It could be used to give the shape الحجم big, small, large. It could be used to give the color اللون blue, pink, black. It could be used to give the number 3 pupils. يعطينا الرقم هو c'est un adjectif enfin. هكا ولا يجي قبل النون أي حاجة باش تجي قبل النون راهي adjective. donc ينجم يكون على هذوما الكل. Right, and I give you another example. It could be used to describe the material from what thing it is made. Like I say, woolen, plastic. معناتها الحاجة اللي صنعت منها. مثلا طاولة خشبية. A wooden table. كرسي بلاستيك. Plastic chair. ريتو هذه راهو سيفاق على الآخر الادجكتيف. نحاول إني نحط في بالي معناتها راهو عنده برشا معاني. Okay. So. Let's take a look at some adverbs here. كما حكينا من بكري شوية الادverb راهو باش يرجع على الverb. Donc we use the adverb to qualify a verb. I said earlier, usually the adverb is used after the verb. She speaks slowly. They write carefully. But 10% of cases, especially in your exam, you can come across adverbs before the verb. Like I say, it is, or I don't know, it increasingly gives. It extremely encourages. You see, extremely, increasingly, خاصة الكلمات الطويلة un petit peu, عادة باش يكونوا موجودين قبل الverb. لكن ديما الادverb راهو بلاصتو باش تكون بعد الverb. اوكي. واحيانا فما يكون باش ما نغلطكمش فما المفعول به noun بعد الverb ومن بعدهم يكون موجود الادverb. الله غالب انت ونوع الجمله، فعل لازم، فعل متعدي، فعل يحتاج مفعول به، فعل ما يحتاجش، فعل يحتاج زوز، انسي دو سويت كيما في العربيه نفس البريسك معناتها نفس الخدمه. دونك فيت اتونسيون، راهو معناتها كيف نقولوا هذا اون جينيرال، لكن كيلكو فوا نجم تلقى انت ان نو من بعد الفيرب تكون وظيفته مفعول به، ومن بعد الاسباس الاخر ينجم يكون adverb. Okay, so take a look here at the places, at the positions of the adverb in these sentences. Some of them in the middle, some of them at the end, it depends. You see some of them at the beginning after the subject, so take a look at the colors. Okay, they will keep running homewards until they arrive. He sings nicely. How often do you get a new slipper and a dress? I always go to school at 10 a.m. She read the letter carefully. You see here, carefully comes at the end of the sentence. She seems pretty. I really liked her. She spoke clearly and with conviction. The rain pushed us to the sideways. It's best to drive cautiously. It means carefully, prudently, when the roads are icy. Married people sometimes wish they were single. Mary works out strenuously. The ship drifted upwards. The students worked extremely hard. You see, hard, it's an adjective. What we can find before the adjective, we can have an adverb. You see, extremely. On this project, the team communicated and played well during the match. They can't always beat this football team. I am too tired to walk. I came early because I did not want to miss the class. I totally agree. You see here, the adverb comes before the verb. I totally agree. We don't say I agree totally. You see? Is there a place anywhere I can find a delicious plate of salad? Sam and Tina are two good friends and never lie to each other. Slowly, he climbed the ladder. You see here, slowly is used at the beginning. It's like a narrative style. Tim is never late for school. Thomas really wants, here there is a mistake, wants a new computer, third person singular with S. Thomas worked and lived abroad. So I repeat, as I said earlier, in the adverb, usually it is used after the verb, okay, the verb is followed by an adverb, but in some cases, okay, you can have it before the verb, right? So I think that's it for my presentation. If you don't have any questions, let's move to some examples, some practices with Mr. Kerry. Yes. مدام هي ما نعرفش كان عندهم أسئلة تتفضل تسألهم، كان مرحبا بهم قبل ما نمشوا شوية مع براتيك مع سي كريم.
اوكي، في البداية بعض التلامذة سألوا قالوا رانا ضعاف شوية في اللونجلي، حبوا في آخر الحصة شوية هكا حاوصلوا بالعربي ربما لأن سأحكوا بعد حسينا نحكوا معاهم ونشوف شنو أسئلة.
أوكي.
شكرا.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's well, yeah.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome, pupils and teachers. I will go through some grammar activities and provide you with some tips and tricks. Okay, so to start with, let's say that during your grammar test or grammar exam, I would like to advise pupils to read their paragraphs carefully, whatever the question is. So the first thing to do is to read the paragraph carefully, twice, for example. They should also check the tenses used in the paragraph. A paragraph is written, it includes tense, okay? They should focus on the tense used in the paragraph, the common tense. Students also should search for some clues. Remember what you have learned during your English classes, like, for example, parallel structure, comparative and superlative forms, noun phrase, models, can, could, shall, should, will, would, and etc. Check if there is any reported speech. He said that this is very important to decide what tense to use when you have a reported speech. A reported sentence is not like a direct sentence. You should also read the sentences from beginning to end. Why you should read each sentence separately? So you should check where the sentence starts. Where is the capital letter? This is the beginning of the sentence. And you read your sentence until the end, until you find a full stop. Why you should do this? To identify what is the subject of your sentence, to identify the verb, and to check if you have, for example, an object introduced by the preposition by. This is very important. I will say why. Because if you find an object in your sentence, for example, by someone, by people, by any, so you should know that your sentence is passive. And while conjugating a verb or choosing a word to be put in the blank, it's not the same. If you have an active sentence, it's not like the same as a passive sentence. So if you are able to identify whether your sentence is active or passive, it will make the task easier for you to decide. We will practice now, move to this activity. It's taken from an old back exam. The question here is put the bracketed words in the correct tense or form. As Raja said before, tense, we mean the three tenses, present, past, and future, okay? And in each tense we have simple or perfect or continuous. And the form, it depends on the word. A derivation, for example, adding suffixes or prefixes, changing the form of the word from noun to adjective, using a comparative form, superlative form. Okay, all of these are forms of words. Check the paragraph, try to read carefully. I want you to be active and decide how to conjugate the words, the verbs, or how to change the words. So read carefully. You will have about 4 or 5 minutes. I want students to be engaged in this activity. So think whenever you know an answer. So please try to type in the chat box. I read the paragraph for you. A video of a starving and thin polar bear collapsing in Canada's wilderness has gone viral on the internet. The video shows the bear in search of food, and you have the word wonder. Check here, before the word wonder, you have a comma. So here a clause is introduced with a verb, wonder, okay? We don't have a subject here because the subject is mentioned in the first clause. So, wander across land with no snow or ice. The creature is all skin and bones, and is, you have verb to be, and you are given the verb to see between parentheses. Okay, I circled the verb is, and you check here that we don't have a doer of the action. Who saw the bear? We don't know. We don't know who done the action, so be careful. Foraging for food in a rusty waste containers. It is at times too weak to support its own body weight and has difficulty standing. Paul Nicklin, the photographer who took, what tense is used here? Took, it's the past of the verb take, and the past is took. So here you can identify that the simple past is used. Who took the video footage, and you have the verb state. So remember, normally in one sentence, okay, we have one tense. A sentence is either in the present or in the past or in the future, unless we have a word that shows a time shift, a changing in the time. But remember that a single sentence expresses a single idea in a single tense. So normally here, when I say Paul Nicklin, the photographer who took, I should say this is simple past. And also, if I finish reading my sentence, it's important to finish reading until I find a full stop, okay? The polar bear's plight was, again, the simple past is used here, was a clear sign of the devastating impact of climate change. So the sentence started from the capital letter of the proper noun Paul and finished in at this full stop. So it's very important that students during their exam read the paragraph carefully, and then while deciding what verb, tense, or form, they should read the sentence from beginning to end. This is how to search for clues. This is how to identify the tense. He said, filming the animal, and you have the verb to be heart-wrenching, and the sentence ends here. He said, do you remember anything? Which sentence is introduced by a reporting verb? This is called a reporting verb. It's very important if you know what is a reporting verb. It's very important for you, or it's very helpful for you to decide which tense comes after. He said, like he told, he explained. So these are called reporting verb or reporting verbs, and they are used to introduce a reporting speech. And you have verb to be. Remember the rule. You have seen this during English classes. The rule of tenses while using reported sentences is to move one step backward. To move one step backward, it means if you have present, you move one step backward, you will have simple past. If you have simple past and you move one step backward, you will have past perfect. Mr. Nicklin, who is part of the environmental group C Legacy, explained that his team members, and you have the word push. Through their tears and emotions while they were documenting this, and you have the word die, polar bear. So as you can see, I highlighted the word or the verb were documenting. Remember here to use the parallel structure. Beg your pardon, just a minute, I will be back.
So let me explain while Mr. Karim manages the noise in the background. Saif, you provided an answer very good here, wondering. Let me tell you something very important. Usually, when you have a verb in your sentence and you have another comma and another verb between parentheses, you will use automatically the ing form. I repeat, when you have a verb, إذا أنت الجملة متاعك فيها الفيرب الأوريجينال موجود ويعطيك كلمة أخرى معناتها entre parenthèses اللي هي verb راهي باش تكون معناتها في ال ing form اللي pas conjugué هذاك يتسمى adjective ça fonctionne comme un adjectif في الجملة أخذوا هنا شنو هي الverb متاعنا the video shows the bear shows okay already I have the verb automatically wonder will be in the ing form okay next you have is. As I mentioned in the chat box, I was writing some rules for you to follow, okay, with Mr. Karim. Usually, if you have to be in a sentence before a verb, okay, we should use the passive voice. So what do you have after to be? Automatically, I put the rule, okay, the PP, the past participle. The past participle is the third column, okay, that you have in your irregular verb table at the end of every school book. Like I say, write, wrote, written, take, took, taken. So written, taken, okay? All of these, they are the past participle of your verbs. يعني automatiquement جملتي في l'examen جاتني to be, is, are, was, were وعطاني verb ما بين قوسين فما دو possibilités يا باش نحط ال ing form present progressive is seeing is taken is reading ou bien باش نحط ال PP passive past participle إذا كان وقتاش نعرف جملتي في ال passive if the subject is inanimate it's not a person okay it's an animal it's an object like I say the creature the animal the Big Bang pollution you see all of these usually they are not people so generally speaking we should use the passive sentences okay so what other rules shall I provide here so the photographer who took the video footage another remark what do you remark in this paragraph what type is this paragraph What type is this paragraph? It's narrative, okay? So all the verbs should be in the past. Basically, of course, this is the general rule, but it depends on the sentences you have. I don't know, Mr. Karim, if you are available, if you are ready. Yes, you may proceed. Yes, Mr. Karim. Okay, so I continue a few minutes until he comes back. So I repeat, as I said, it's a narrative paragraph, okay? So all the verbs basically should be used in the past. I think he had a problem of voice. أنا نشوف فيه يحرك في الكورسور وما فماش صوت. لحظة برك نكلمه. Mr. Karim, we can't hear you. We see the you're pinpointing the mouse, but we can't hear you. Open your mic, please. Karim, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me, Rajana?
Yeah, it's correct. Yes, it's perfect.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the disturbance.
No problem, yes.
So, as I have said, so I highlighted the word documenting, okay? And if you read your sentence from the beginning, okay, until the end, you may identify or you may know that we have a parallel structure. If you understand that you have a parallel structure, this means that you are going to use the same structure, the same tense, for example, okay?
It's very helpful. And we're documenting this, and you have the word die, polar bear. The bear they filmed was not old and probably died within hours. He said this is what starvation looks like. The muscles deteriorate, no energy. It's slow. I highlighted the word slow. You should recognize slow is an adjective. You have a comma, so you are going to use the same structure. It means you are going to put an adjective. Okay, so we go to the first, or go back to the first verb. The video shows the bear in search of food. We have a comma, and if we start a sentence with a verb without subject, okay, you may use gerund form. It means it's an ing form or an infinitive form. And in this case, you should say wandering. The video shows the bear, or the bear in search of food, wandering across land with no snow or ice. The gerund form or the ing form is used when you start a sentence without subject. For example, if you say eating fruits and vegetables is very healthy. I started my sentence with eating, and as you can see, eating is an ing form. It's a gerund, okay? Here it's the same case. We are starting a sentence with a verb, so it should be an ing form. Wandering across land with no snow or ice. We proceed. The creature is all skin and bones, and is, and you have the verb see. You are given to be in the present. And the doer of the action is not mentioned here. In a sentence where we don't have a doer of the action, it's called a passive sentence. In this case, you should recall, you should remember the rule of the passive voice. Right, it's verb to be plus past participle. That's right. So you are going to say, and is seen. Okay? Is seen. Who saw the creature? Or who saw the bear starving? People, scientists, photographers, okay? But they are not mentioned in the sentence because the doer either is unknown, we don't know him, or either is not important to be mentioned, okay? So this is a passive sentence. To be plus past participle is seen. Foraging for food in rusty waste containers, it is at times too weak to support its own body weight and has difficulty standing. Paul Nicklin, the photographer who took, it's a simple past, the video footage. Okay, so state, what tense are you going to use? So Raja said before that it's a narration. This is a narrative paragraph, and the time of the narration is the past. Also, we have here the verb to be in the past was. So I'm going to keep the same tense and use the simple past and say stated. Okay. Stated the polar bear's plight was a clear sign of the devastating impact of climate change. Full stop. I start a new sentence. He said, filming the animal, and you have verb to be. Some of you may say or may think of using the simple past. You will say, I have said here, it's simple past, so I should say here, the animal was heart-wrenching. But remember that this is a reported speech. This is a reporting verb, he said, okay? And as we are using the simple past, and you have a reporting verb in the past, you should move backward, okay? You should make one step backward into the past. If you make one step backward, you will find the past perfect. So here, you must say had been, okay? You are using had plus past participle. This is the rule of the past perfect tense. The next sentence, Mr. Nicklin, who is part of the environmental group C Legacy, explained that his team members push, don't stop reading, carry on, yes, continue, push through their tears and emotions, I didn't finish my sentence, while they were documenting. While is very important here. We have two simultaneous action happening at the same time. هذا deux actions قاعدين يصيروا أو صاروا في نفس الوقت. به أنا عارف إنه الباراجراف كلها في الباست سي بيان. It's a narrative paragraph. That's clear. لهنا عندي خاطر we're documenting. هنا it's a continuous action حدث متوسط. To be where خاطر عندي السوجي بتاعها بلوريال دونك الفيرب ثم اكور ما بين الفيرب والسوجي هذا بلورال هذا بلورال. documenting verb plus ing هذه القاعده نتاع past progressive to be in the past plus verb plus ing مادام يفيد نفس الجمله دونك باش نحافظ على parallel structure I'm going to use the same tense. دونك كيف نقرا الجمله نتاعي explain that his team members were pushing through their tears and emotions. هذا الحدث لو في نفس الوقت صار معه الحدث الثاني اللي كذا وقت زاده while they were documenting. So هذاك علاش من بكري وصيت قلت راهو يلزم نقرا الباراجراف الباهي نحدوا لي زانديكاتور دو طون مش كلمات تدل على الزمن ونحدوا زاد اللي حاجه باش تعاوننا برشا اللي هي parallel structure. ستركتور باراليل هذه نفس الصيغه باش تعاود اوكي باش تعاوننا برشا اللي كان نفيقوا بها وين موجوده parallel structure اللي هي ميزه من المميزات نتاع الكتابه في اللغه الانجليزيه اذا كان نفيقوا بها نجم تعاوننا برشا اوكي فاسيلمون. So we're pushing, we're documenting. This and you have the word die. Okay, polar bear. Donc هنا this. Okay, so this is a demonstrative. بعدها ثم polar bear. Donc هنا هذه عندي noun bear وبعدها adjective. زاد باش تحق adjective لهنا. اوكي باش يوصف الحالة. هذه كلها this والكلمة هذه اللي باش نكملوها تويكا polar bear هذه كلها is a noun phrase. جروب نومينال. It's a noun phrase. Noun phrase كما فسرت رجاء من بكري فيه determinant ينجم يكون فيه quantifier اوكي بعدك يجي adjective ينجم يكونوا 2 adjective والا 3 adjective والعنصر الاساسي هو الناون الموجود توا في اخر الجمله هذه اللي هو bear اوكي دونك هذا العنصر الاساسي وهذه كلها متممات للnoun phrase. دونك die هنا should add description باش تزيد صفه هي لشكون للدب اللي نحكوا عليه اوكي للدب القطبي باش تزيد صفه دونك هنا يلزم نستعمل adjective اوكي دونك what I'm going to say ترى you may think and say dying. Yes, dying here is an adjective. ing adjective. Dying polar bear. The bear they filmed was not old and probably died within hours. He said this is what starvation looks like. The muscles deteriorate. No energy. It's slow and you have pain, death. عندي فيرجول بيناتهم اوكي مازلت في نفس الجمله هنا زاد لازم نستحضر parallel structure parallelism the same structure repeated اوكي to make balance باش تخلق توازن في الجمله مادام استعملت adjective هنا دونك هنا زاد لازم نستعمل adjective. So what is the adjective from pain It's easy. Beauty, beautiful. Okay. Help, helpful. The same. I'm going to add full to get an adjective. So it's painful. Okay. It's a painful death. ان شاء الله راكم خدمتوا على الاقل الاكثريه نتاع الكلمات بالصحيح. Okay. I move to another similar activity. The same question, put the bracketed words in the right tense or form. We are speaking about countryside or life in the countryside. Read the paragraph carefully with me. Try to think about the parallel structure, about the tenses you have seen during classes. It has been the dream of retirees for thousands of years to settle in the countryside where the air is cleaner, adjective, and the life is quieter, adjective. And it's easy here, you may guess. Yes, it's healthier. I'm using the same structure. ER adjective, okay. Comparative form, short adjective, زدنا ER. نفس الصيغة نحافظ عليها is quieter. Short adjective plus ER. The same, I'm going to use a short adjective plus ER. So I'm going to say healthier. These days, thanks to technological advances, growing numbers of professionals, and you have the word choose. I underline the word these days. What tense is associated with this time markers or time indicators? These days. Try to guess. Let's check. You may say are choosing. It's a progressive action in the present. Are, to be, plus verb choose plus ing. So this is a present progressive or present continuous tense because you have these days. It's similarly to the word nowadays. People are choosing. So it's the same. It's progressive action. It's still happening. حدث مازال متواصل. That's why we have chosen to use the present progressive. Are choosing. فكروا القاعدة بتاع present progressive اللي نستعملوه مع now ولا at the moment وإلا nowadays or these days. Okay, you may use to be in the present plus verb plus ing. To base or to settle themselves in the countryside. Not to retire, but because in many industries there is simply no need to be chained to a desk in the city. Having a broadband connection and choosing a phone or a tablet is all that, and you have require, a verb. All that. Normally all that is the subject of your sentence, okay? But all that, it means choosing a phone or a tablet. هذا ما ينجمش يقوم بفعل تليفون وتابلت. Inanimate, they are not the doer of the action, okay? معناتها هنا you have to put your verb in passive form. You may say all that is required. It's to be plus past participle. So whenever you read the sentence نقرأ الجملة متاعي منين بدت وين باش تكمل. Okay, ونحاول نحدد السوجي متاع الجملة متاعي. Okay, والاكسيون اللي باش نصرفها ولا الفعل باش نصرفه نشوف اسكو عنده سوجي قايم بالفعل doer of the action ou bien عنده سوجي ما يقومش بالاكسيون donc is not the doer of the action. In this case the subject all that اللي هي ترجع ل a phone or tablet donc ما نجمش تقوم بالفعل donc هنا باش تسحب a passive verb is required. According to UK statistics, there is some truth to theory that your life, and you have the verb expect. You know this word, you know this collocation. شفناها في المحور الرابع. Donc it's a collocation. Life شو نقولوا ترى؟ Life expect. Yes, life expectancy. That's right. It's an adjective. Noun, life. Okay. Followed by an adjective. Life expectancy. It's a collocation widely used in English. Life expectancy increases in the countryside. Living in rural areas means you are slightly less likely to die premature. هنا عندنا to die. Infinitive verb to die. And the word between parentheses premature is an adjective. لكن احنا باش نوصفوا الفعل كيفاش صار ما نسحقوش adjective. We use the adjective to describe a noun. L'adjectif يرجع للنوع. Donc شنو هي الكلمة اللي نوصفوا بها الفعل ولا l'action? Yes, it's an adverb. هنا نسحقوا adverb. So it's easy now to add a suffix to the word premature. Donc انت هنا عندك adjective باش تزيدوا suffix. باش نزيدوا terminaison باش يولي عندنا adverb. خاطر الadverb نوصفوا به الحركة. For example نقولوا he speaks quickly. Quickly describes how the action happens. He speaks quickly. Quickly جات باش توصف الفعل speak. هنا نفس الشيء. Donc شنو باش نقول؟ Adverb from premature. Yes, prematurely. هنا ولات adverb. Adverb نستعملوه to describe or to modify or to add a description to the verb. To die prematurely. From cancer, stroke, or coronary heart disease. Lately, government forecasters, and you have the verb predict. Predict بمعنى يتوقع. Expect. Forecast زادة. Donc سطرت أنا لهنا. سطرت lately. هذه time indicator. هذا adverb. وقت اللي نلقاه ثم طون معين يلزم نستعمله. Lately government forecasters. زاد سطرت forecasters على خاطر الاسبي نتاع الفيرب يا اما باش يكون singular or plural. نبداو بlately هذه. تتفكروا وقت حكينا قلنا some adverbs وقت اللي نلقوهم كيما lately, recently, just, since, for. هذوما وقت نلقوهم شنو نستعملوا معاهم؟ Yes, exactement. نستعملوا the present perfect. بقت حاجة واحدة. شنو هي القاعدة نتاع present perfect؟ Try to remember the rule of the present perfect. أي have or has plus past participle. That's right. لكن have وقتاش نستعملها؟ Yes, when I have a plural subject. فهي كي يبدا السوجي نتاعي pluriel. اوكي ولا pronoun تاعي plural donc باش نستعمل have. أي with singular third person pronouns she, he, it. أي باش نقول has. alright. donc هنا شو نقولوا lately government forecasters. أنا عندي forecasters plural donc باش نقول have. and what is the past participle of predict? alright, so you may say have predicted that. yes, have predicted. مادام عندي lately كانت تنجم تكون كلمة أخرى لكن عندها نفس المعنى. just, yet, for, since. okay. recently هنا هذه عندها نفس المعنى نجم نبدلها ب recently. recently government forecasters have predicted. هذا present perfect. okay. have predicted that on average people born in a very rural areas will live 1.5 to 2 years longer than those in major urban areas. donc نعاود نفكروا كي تبدو تخدم في تمرين كي من هذا. donc نستحضروا tenses لي طون اللي قريناهم. نستحضروا parallel structure اللي باش تعاوننا برشا، اللي هي نفس الصيغة باش تعاود. نستحضروا comparative form with short adjective and long adjective. كيف superlative form اللي ديما نلقوا قبلها the وبعدك يجي l'adjectif. اوكي تتفكروا short adjective plus est and the plus most or least plus long adjective كيف نعملوا بها superlative. نتفكروا زاده الverb ولا الجملة متاعي est-ce que active or passive. Alright, we move to the next activity. Put the bracketed words in the right tense or form. Becky started smoking cigarettes in 1976 when she was an exchange student. هنا أول حاجة المؤشرات متاعي. Okay, this is a narrative paragraph. Did started simple past in 76 simple past, was an exchange student simple past. Okay, good. At that time, she with a host family in Germany during her junior year of high school. She علاش هنا قلنا was living during. okay during معناتها خلال فترة معينة، معناتها الفعل ممتد في الماضي. it's a period of time. sorry معناتها الفعل خذا وقت في الماضي. دونك هنا I'm using the past progressive. شنو هي القاعدة متاع past progressive؟ شفناها من بكري. yes to be in the past معناتها was or were plus verb plus ing form. okay that's right, was living with a host family in Germany during her junior year of high school. Becky smoked to fit in with her host family members and her friends. Over time she discovered مازال عندي simple past but هنا نقول she had trouble quitting gerund. I'm using a gerund. Over time she discovered she had trouble quit. I add ing form quitting full stop. هنا تبدأ جملة جديدة. At the age of 45 Becky diagnosed. علاش was diagnosed؟ شكون يشخص المرض؟ yes doctors. باهي yes. دونك اسك تذكرش اسم الطبيب هنا doctors؟ عندناش by doctors. no ما تذكرش. it's not important ماهوش موضوعنا. دونك this is a passive sentence. السوجي متاعها Becky is not the doer. ماهيش هي اللي شخصت المرض. لا ثم شكون شخص المرض وما ذكرناش. دونك it's a passive sentence. اي فراز باسيف باش يكون فيها to be. تقول لي مسيو فينا طون to be علاش جات في الباست؟ على خاطر اني عندي هنا الطون تاعي الباست. لو كان الجمله اللي قبلها وجيت نحكي هاي at the age of 45 معناتها حدث صار في الماضي. لو كان جيت نحكي تويكا مثلا في البريزنت to be باش نحطها في البريزون باش نقول is. دونك to be يتبع الطون تاع الباراجراف ولا تاع الجمله نتاعك ونزيدها past participle. diagnose this is regular verb ياخذ القاعدة. I'm going to add ed. so was diagnosed with a serious lung disease that عندي gradual made it harder and harder for her to breathe. علاش هو يرجع زعما gradual هذا اللي باش يتحول adverb ايش يوصف هو؟ it does not describe Becky. ما يرجعش على Becky. no يرجع على made it harder and harder for her to breathe. okay يا اما باش يرجع ل made ويرجع ل breathe. okay دونك يرجع لاكسيون يرجع لفعل. A we use an adverb to describe the verb. okay gradually made. عندي adjective كيما شفنا من بكري زدت ly as a suffix. ايش ولا عندي؟ ولا عندي adverb. good. She was even hospitalized in 2012 when she was unable to catch her breath one day while leaving work. She tried not to panic, not to be afraid, but knew that inevitably she would need medical help. تقول لي مسيو علاش would need؟ علاش ما قلتش needed؟ no. هنا the action هي وقتاش تحكي مثلا تحكي في عام معين في 2012 واحنا تو 2021. لاحظوا معايا انه بكي واعيه بالحاله نتاعها وتنبأت معناتها ان ما عادش باش نجم تعيش من غير مساعده طبيه. معناتها في الوقت هذاك هي في 2012 وقت تنبأت معناتها تنبأت على الفيوتشر. دونك هي في الوقت هذاك past و future لمو مع بعضهم. دونك هنا would need هذه تتسمى future of the past. وقت انت تحكي على حاجه في الباست تتوقع حاجه باش تصير في الفيوتشر تسمى future of the past. هذاك علاش قلنا ما نقولوش will نستعملوها في الفيوتشر العادي. will need توا will need وقت نحكوا في البريزون على حاجه باش تصير في الفيوتشر. لكن واحنا نحكوا على حكايه صارت في الماضي والشخص تنبأ على حاجه باش تصير في المستقبل نستعمل future of the past. دونك you would say would كأن قلت will لكن will كي تصرفوها في الماضي تولي would. أي ونزيد الانفينيتيف verb would need medical help for the rest of her life. Becky remembers wake. Yes, you may say waking up in the intense care unit and facing. Here facing is very important. علاش؟ أنا كي يبدأ عندي فراغ لنا وفي نفس الجملة عندي الصيغة هذه ing4 أي حكينا قبيلة parallel structure لازم الجملة تكون متناسقة. الأفعال تكون في نفس الصيغة. هذاك علاش waking is ing4 waking and facing parallel structure. Facing the fight of her life. Today Becky needs sorry هنا هذه غلطة. أوكي ما بدلتهاش. Becky needs continuous oxygen to help her breathe. دونك لنا هذه غلطة. ايش باش نقول continuous هنا adjective باش نوصف به oxygen. أوكي continuous oxygen to help her breathe. Very easy. Another activity اللي هي circle the right alternative before we move to the writing. Donc in this activity الكلمة تنجم دونك هنا تنجم تكون ثم طون باش تختاروا تنجم تكون باش تختار ما بين prepositions. تنجم تكون الحكاية semantic معناتها في علاقة بالمعنى. يبدأ عندنا 3 كلمات كل واحدة عندها معنى. دونك هنا هو المعنى باش نختاره هنا هو المعنى الصحيح هي semantic. أوكي ماهيش جرامير ماهيش جرامر. ب هات نقراو كده. They look like the real thing. The end glows as you inhale. As you exhale, you puff out a cloud of what looks like smoke. It's vapor. All e-cigarettes work basically the same way. وإلا نقولوا the same style. وإلا زي ما نقولوا the same system. Which one is better? All e-cigarettes. نحكيو هنا على السيجارة الإلكترونية. All e-cigarettes work basically the same. Yes, the same way. Okay, نقولوا بنفس الطريقة بالعربي. Donc the same way. هنا فهمناها بالمعنى. Okay. اللي هي it's also an English collocation to say the same way. Inside there is a battery, a heating element, and a cartridge بمعنى كرتوشة, cartridge that holds nicotine and other liquids and flavorings. منكهات. The nicotine inside the cartridges is active or addictive or interactive. علاش نحكي هنا؟ نحكي على نيكوتين. ها هو السوجي تاع الجملة. is a linking verb يربط ما بين السوجي وما بين الادجكتيف. اي دونك شنو هي الادجكتيف اللي يمشي مع كلمة نيكوتين؟ شبيه نيكوتين؟ اكتيف زعما ولا ادكتيف ولا انتراكتيف؟ بيان سور باش نختاروا addictive. اوكي نحكيو على smoking so it's addictive. كيف احنا فهمناها من خلال المعنى. when you stop using it you can get withdrawal symptoms أعراض الانسحاب. Okay, withdrawal symptoms including feeling irritable, depressed, or impressed, or addressed. سهل. When you stop smoking وقت الإنسان يحبس الدخان ترى ولا يحبس الإدمان. Yes, you would feel depressed. That's right. Restless and anxious. Tests show the levels of dangerous chemicals they give off, they give in, they give at. What are you going to say? هنا bien sûr give إذا كان يجينا بعدها preposition تتسمى phrasal verb. phrasal verb يختلف المعنى. Okay, give off ماهيش give up. كان تفكروا شفتوها to give up smoking وماهيش give in المعنى يختلف. دونك هنا I'm going to say give off اللي هي المعنى متاعها exhale or discharge or emit. Okay, give off are fraction of what you'd get from a real cigarette. E-cigarettes have cut or stopped or triggered a fierce debate among health experts. E-cigarettes السجين متاعي e-cigarettes have cut عندها بريس نفس المعنى بتاع stopped or triggered عندها raised a fierce debate among health experts. Yes, you should say triggered, raised a debate, an issue, triggered a fierce debate among health experts who share the same goal. الexperts هذوما شنو هو الهدف نتاعهم؟ شنو هو الجول نتاعهم زعما؟ Reducing the disease and health, or sorry, and death caused by tobacco. وإلا deducing the disease. وإلا renouncing the disease. Yes, it's very simple here. Reducing لازم تنقص من المرض. اوكي هذاك الهدف نتاعها. So الكلمة الوحيدة اللي تنجم تكون صحيحة هنا reducing the disease and death caused by tobacco. So this is the end of part number 1 concerning grammar, I think. نعاود نذكركم دونك في التعامل مع التمارين تاع اللغة كيما هكا. دونك نحاول نستحضر اللي قريته كل في اللغة. دونك إذا كان عندي verb راني باش نصرفه. إذا كان صرفت الverb باش يستحق حاجتين. باش يستحق الطون اللي هو tense يا present بأنواعه يا past وإلا future. أي بعد ما نحدد شنو هو الطون باش نستعمله. أول حاجة كيفاش باش نحدد الطون؟ نمشي باش نلوج على tense markers اسمهم tense markers. نحاول نسطرهم يبدأ قلم رصاص في يدي ولا ستيلو ونسطر أي كلمة تدل على الزمن. أوكي. In 1990 مثلا for وإلا since مثلا non present perfect. Okay, many years ago. Okay, 10 years ahead 10 سنين لقدام. Okay, tense markers هذوك نحاول نسطرهم باش يعاونون. نلوج نلقاش parallel structure. سهل ياسر انك تحدد شنو وين موجوده parallel structure باش نستعمل نفس الطون وإلا نفس structure وإلا نفس الفورم. اوكي اذا كان لقيت preposition بعدها action كما شفنا في القسم ديما بعد preposition وبعد before و after نستعملوا gerund تجينا ing form. اوكي دونك التمرين مثلا circle the right alternative نقرا باراجراف بالباهي مرتين 3 ولا حتى اكثر. اوكي خاطر vocabulary ساعات نفهموه بالمعنى بالسياق نتاع الجمله باش نحدد هنا الكلمه الصحيحه. I finish with the 2 writing samples في المحور الرابع هذا life issues. دونك عادة you are asked to write an article or a paragraph. اوكي مانيش نحكي على الليتر والايميل لهنا، نحكي وقت نكتبوا ارتيكل عادي. اوكي عادة اللاي اوت نتاعو بتكون كي من هكا. لازم يكون عندنا introduction, body, and we finish by writing a conclusion. الانترودكشن عادة باش يكون فيها define نجم نعرفوا or if we are writing an opinion essay donc باش we state our opinion. okay. إذا كان عندنا فينومين كيما global warming ولا eco driving okay we explain this phenomenon في جملتين ولا ثلاثة نحاولوا نعرفوه ونبسطوه. وإلا we introduce مثلا topic وإلا حاجة شائعة كيما brain drain ولا migration. في البدي في العادة نحاولوا نلتزموا ديما بثلاثة أفكار باش يكون الفقرة متاعنا متناسقة. if it's an argumentative اللي كان هي argumentative paragraph donc نكتب الارجيومون متاعي باش نذكر الارجيومون الأول and I support my argument with details and examples. الارجيومون هذاك باش ندعمه بأمثلة اوكي كل الحجة باش ندعمها بمثال وإلا باش نحاول نشرحها. وقت نكمل لي زارجيومون تاعي ثلاثة اوكي البادي يكمل دونك باش نمشي conclusion. ساهل ياسر في الكونكلوجن باش نعمل دونك I'm going to restate the topic باش نعاود نذكر بالموضوع اللي حكيت فيه and sum up the important point باش نلخص أهم حاجة تقالت في الموضوع. مثال عندنا مثلا في المحور الرابع smoking affects not only the smoker's health but also his or her social life. دونك ايش طلب مني هنا قال لي write a 12-line article to remind people of the negative effects of smoking suggesting some quitting solutions. دونك make sure دونك أهم حاجة عندكم هي إنك تحدد ديما كيما وصينا وقت نقرأ الموضوع بالباهي ستيل ولا قلم في يدي ونحدد كلمات مفاتيح. دونك أنا كي نقرأ أول كلمة لهنا نعرف روحي إني باش نحكي على smoking باهي ياسر مانيش باش نحكي على حاجة أخرى. دونك هنا نحكي على smoking فهمت الموضوع شنو. Smoking affects not only the smoker's health but also his or her social life. Right هنا حدد شنو باش نكتب ما قاليش ايميل ما قاليش letter ما قاليش add قال لي 12 line article وبلاي نلتزموا وقت يقولنا 12 line بنحاولوا ما نكثروش برشا مش اكثر 15 باهي اذا كان باش نزيدوا اوكي but do not write too much اوكي خاطر اذا كان باش نتجاوزوا 12 سطر ولا 15 سطر باش تكثر معنا الاغلاط وكل وين تكثر الاغلاط وين تنقص النوت. دونك 12 سطر نجم نتحكموا فيهم ونصرفوا فيهم اوكي. مثلا نكتبوا سطرين للمقدمة سطرين للخاتمة والباقي included in the body اوكي. write a 12-line article دونك هنا لازم نحدد نوعية النص باش نكتبه ديما لازم نفهم ايش باش نكتب ايش طلب مني. to remind people of the negative effects of smoking قال لي باش نحكي عن negative effects of smoking negative effects اوكي. بيان سور هنا هو التدخين معناتها ما عندوش positive effects دونك مستحيل باش يطلب منا positive effects خاطر احنا ما نشجعوش في التدخين. دونك لكن في موضوع اخر نثبت مثلا ايش اسكو حاجتي بنيجاتيف effects والا بالبوزيتيف effects. لو كان جات brain drain مثلا اوكي نعرفوا brain drain عنده advantages drawbacks اوكي عنده benefits وعنده blemishes. دونك ديما نحدد شنو طلب مني بالضبط negative effects of smoking. زادني حاجة لهنا suggesting some quitting solutions. Quitting solution I'm going to suggest or advise people to quit smoking. به دونك هنا باش نعمل باش نكتب مقدمة متاعي اللي هي او باش نشوف بعد تفاصيل بعديك باش نكتب البادي باش يكون فيه زوز اجزاء دونك two short paragraphs مخصص مثلا 3 ولا 4 سطور للنيجاتيف effects of smoking كما شفناهم في القسم ونخصص زاد 3 أو 4 سطور لل suggesting some quitting solutions كما شفناهم في القسم اوكي. وبعدك باش الخاتمه تاعي كيف في سطرين والا 3. introduction شنو نجمو تحكيو الانتروداكشن for example I'm not going to give you a ready written introduction just نعطيكم دي نوت اوكي. خاطر كل واحد ينجم يكون جملة you can formulate as you like. Donc for example smoking bad habits affect people's life وعندي زاد affect social life نجم نعملها في جملة هنا. دونك حاولوا الجملة ديما تكون simple تكون بسيطة الجمل تبداها بسوجي، بعد السوجي نتاعك تحط verb. اوكي، نجم تزيد مثلا بعدها كومبليمون اللي هو ينجم at the time والا place والا adjective. نحاولوا نتفكروا الصيغ اللي خدمناها في القسم، مثلا parallel structure هنا نجموا نعملوا ترى not only but also كيفاش نجم نستغلوها. Smoking is a bad habit that affects not only people's life but also affects their social life. أي مثلا أوكي، أنا باش نجمع حاجتين في جملة واحدة، يعني نجم نجمعهم نستعمل not only but also. That's good. البادي دونك هنا كما شفنا باش يكون متكون من two short paragraphs، خاطر هو طلب مني حاجتين. أول حاجة شنو؟ yes, negative effects of smoking. دونك تنجم تقول له تحكي له على الادكشن to nicotine, how people become nervous, they suffer from anxiety. دونك هذه تنجم تكون الارجيومون الاول، طوروها في جمله. we give example والا we explain، نجمو نكونوا منها جمله والا زوز. الارجيومون الثاني نجم نحكي على bad breath, bad habit, and people who smoke they smell bad. Okay, and this is annoy their friends or their families, and this is how it affects their social life. الارجيومون الثالث مثلا باش نحكي على اهم حاجه اللي هي smoking causes severe health problems like heaven forbid cancer, lung and heart diseases. اوكي دونك هنا عندي 3 different arguments، 3 arguments مختلفين. هذوما هما negative effects of smoking. اوكي هنا بيان سور عطيت دي اكزامبل. اوكي اكيد ثم حاجات اخرين نقلتوها في القسم تنجم تستغلوها. المهم والنصيحة هو انه وقت when we elaborate a sentence or we expand notes into a sentence نحاولوا نعملوا جملة صحيحة. بالله ما تنسوش انه الجملة تبدأ بماجسكول capital letter. راهي it's very important. راهو في الجرامير إذا كان جملة ما تبداش بماجسكول ما هيش جملة، it's not a sentence. دونك ديما كي تبدا نبدا بكابيتال letter، كان لازم نكتبها بالستيلو بالاخضر باش ما ننساهاش capital letter. When you finish your sentence put a full stop. إذا كان كملت جملتك كملت الفكرة نتاعك، بيان سور كل جملة نطور فيها فكرة. كيف تكمل الجملة نعمل نقطة. إذا كان جملة طويلة باش نعمل ترتيح ما تنسوش we put a comma. Donc punctuation and capitalization are very important. ما تنسوش زيادة linkers of addition sorry or linkers of contrast ما ننسوهمش. in addition to start with. الباراجراف الثاني دونك هنا طلب مني suggesting to suggest some solution or solutions. تنجم تحكيو على practice sport. You advise people to practice sport, to play football, to play their favorite sport, to go for jogging, which is good for blood circulation and for respiration. You advise them to keep busy by playing their favorite games, by reading books, by watching movies, interesting documentaries, and etc. And you may also advise them to eat healthy, to go on a healthy diet, like eating a lot of the fruits and vegetables, drinking a lot of water. Donc نكمل توا. هنا حكيت عن negative effects of smoking. هنا حكينا suggesting some solution. أي ايش بقالي؟ أي ستري سامبل. دونك جملتين هنا نجم نختم بيهم باش نحاول شنو اللي حكيته توا في البادي. insist that smoking is a bad habit. باش نعاود نأكد smoking is a bad habit that leads to death. نجم تؤدي للموت. It's a deadly habit. And advise and encourage people to quit. You insist also or you advise, you should say that it's important that people keep safe and away from smoking. They should take care of their health. Okay. Another example of writing an essay, you may encounter during your exam related to life issues. We read many people are suffering from stress and depression. معلش because of the hustle and bustle of city life. الناس تعاني من ستريس وديبرسيون خاطر وجوجنا في العيشة في المدينة. Pollution, noise, and etc. The hustle and bustle of city life. أي طلب مني دو you decided to write a 12-line article for your school magazine in which you highlight. إيش معناتها highlight؟ You focus on تأكد على تبين you pinpoint تبين okay in which you highlight the benefits of living in the countryside as a cure and remedy. Cure معناتها علاج okay كيف remedy cure and remedy for their mental depression. دونك الحل الوحيد للناس هذوما اللي يعانيوا بالستريس في المدينة. أي ننصحوهم دونك باش مش ننصحوهم دونك باش نبين لهم إنه العلاج نتاعهم هو العيش في الكانتري سايد. كيفاش نجموا نبداو الموضوع دونك لهنا كالعادة دونك نجم تحكي and في المقدمة سطرين باش نقولوا راهو life in the countryside has many benefits over life in the city. دونك عندها برشا benefits and you say it's a cure and remedy for mental depression. تقول راهي علاج للناس اللي تعاني ستريس وديبرسيون. بعدك شين to the body كيف ما قلنا دونك في البادي يحبذا ان نعتمدوا 3 arguments. او عندنا ديز example هنا كيما شفتوهم في القسم. We have such examples. دونك نجم نحكيو على better environment. We support this argument by speaking about air and water quality. نحكيو زاد على green areas. نحكيو على healthy food in the countryside. ونحكيو زاد على longer life expectancy. الارجيومون الثاني اللي تنجم تعتمدوا دونك we speak about social life حياة اجتماعية. Social life in the countryside is better than in the city. كيفاش؟ تنجم تشرح له نقولوا راهي in the countryside we have vibrant communities. People are friendly and helpful. More communication between people, members, and etc. And also privacy. Okay. الارجيومون الثاني نجم نحكي على الايكونومي for example شفناها في النص اللي قريناه. نحكيو ندعموه نحكيو عليه less unemployment. Booming economy and life in the countryside is less expensive. كيف when I finish formulating the body of your essay you in 2 or 3 sentences you are going to sum up and conclude your essay.
Mr. Karim, please, I have a question here.
Yes, Roger.
So sometimes people get confused because in the structure of the sentence in the writing, it talks about the hustle and bustle of city life. Should they talk only about the benefits of living in the countryside, or could they talk about the disadvantages even in 2 lines so that they get a clear answer? I repeat, should they talk only about the benefits of the life in countryside, or can they have 2 sentences in which they sort out the disadvantages of city life? Yes.
Yes, Roger. So students are asked only to write about the benefits of countryside. على خاطر 12-line article هنا طلب مني بوضوح قال لي highlight the benefits of living in the countryside. دونك هنا إذا كان التلميذ ذكر disadvantages ولا blemishes of living in the city دونك باش يذكرها في المقدمة وقت يقول راهو disadvantages هذوما هما اللي يسببوا الستريس and depression. اوكي باش يذكر واحدة ولا زوز في المقدمة باش يقول راهو يسببوا stress and depression. دونك people should resort to living in the countryside because it's a cure and remedy. ويمشي في البادي باش يعطي الترواز ارجيمون هذوما. اوكي علاش؟ لانه هنا ما طلبش مني في صريح معناتها dissertation ما ذكرليش اني باش نحكي على disadvantages، لانه اذا كان طلب مني وقتها باش نقارن اللي هي it's a comparative essay، هنا باش يقول لي هو يقارن معناتها كانها مقارنه ما بين life in the city and life in the countryside. وباي ذا واي احنا السنه الدرس اللي نورمالمون نقريو فيه الكومباراتيف essay or comparison essay تنحى، اللي هو كنت تفكر رجاء comparing educational systems. الدرس هذاك نورمالمون نقروا فيه التلميذ باش يتعلم يكتب السي يقارن فيه ما بين حاجتين، وقتها احنا باش نقارنوا ما بين education تعليم في تونس وتعليم في بريطانيا. دونك الدرس هذاك تنحى معناتها دونك التلميذ ما قريناش السنه comparison essay اللي هو نحكيو فيه على حاجتين مختلفين. اوكي دونك هنا ما فماش مقارنه ما بين life in the city and life in the countryside. وطالما نفس الموضوع ما طلبش مني قال لي highlight the benefits. اوكي دونك باش نركز كان على benefits of the countryside. I think it's clear.
Yes, crystal clear. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Okay, that's all. نتمنى لكم نجاح وتوفيق قدوة ان شاء الله في امتحان الانجليزيه. دونك نحاولوا نركزوا، خذوا وقتكم، تنجموا تخدموا الموضوع هذا مع تتحرروه والموضوع اللي قبله زاده. اوكي اي بون شانس ان شاء الله.
Thank you, Mr. Karim, for the great effort. Yes, Madame Hoyem, if you would like, you stop the record, and if they have any questions, we are ready to answer them. Yes.